Hey everybody, welcome to Leon's Chainsaw Parts and Repair. This is the third try at this, and I'm hoping that it actually goes right. Uh, so yeah, I've got a actual true wired internet connection out here in the garage at this point. It's a janky one, but it should work. Used one of those adapters that actually transmits over the electrical line itself. So I know it sounds weird, but I think it's going to work. It should be a lot better. Good morning, Ken. So we're looking at Ben's 925. We looked at this, oh, good Lord, probably close to a month ago at this point, and this is the one that's got stuck piston rings. So I have everything I think I need to get this going, but I know enough people tear this style of saw down. I thought we'd just go much the better. So I'm prepared with either style of ring, big or small. Okay, so you're seeing a little choppy. All right. Yeah, we'll see. If this doesn't work, I don't know what the heck will, to be honest with you. I've got both styles of rings just in case this has a later in it that was downsized to 2-inch. So I don't really want that to be the case because I personally like the 2 and 1/16 bores. I've never had one overheat. Yeah, so we're going to start by getting the piston off, or the muffler off, so that we can see what piston we have. This being a West Coast saw, it has the full wrap handlebar and this muffler, this guard on it right here, so you can't actually get a socket on it without risking rounding it off. So we'll do this the old-fashioned slow way. Really slow. That's unfortunate. I'm a patient enough person, but only up to a point. Hey, Richard. C51. Yeah, you can flush the crankcase out with solvent. If you end up with too much of the white corrosion in there, you may have to do a little rattling around and scrape some of it loose. But definitely brake clean, acetone, anything like that. You know, you'll want to avoid if you're attempting to save any seals like rubber parts, avoid that. All right, moment of truth. I should remember this, but I don't. All right, thin rings. So that's a 2 and 1/16 bore. Okay. Not super critical at this point, but whatever. We're going to go with it. And now let's get the carburetor out of the way. You guys have seen enough of my videos to know that I don't take anything off that I don't have to. And this isn't going to be any different. I'm going to attempt to leave the front handle in place on this simply because I don't want more parts floating around. And it's better for the customer. It's that balancing act, though. Do you end up fighting whatever it is you left on longer than if you had just taken the time to take it off? So there's been a lot of these saws on eBay last couple weeks. Look back in my video list here and you'll see a West Coast like this that I picked up. I was talking to a friend last night and it was one of those things. I told him, I said, man, I was waiting for the price to go up and waiting for the price to go up, and it didn't. So therefore, my only responsible thing to do was to buy it. Needless to say, I haven't had that conversation with my wife in quite that manner. Premix gas. I don't. I have testing customer saws, especially ones that I know are going to go into storage. In fact, I've got some of this True Fuel that I keep around just for customers that that request it. It's readily available, as far as I know. Home Depot is the one that closest to me that still carries it. Okay, I forgot. I don't want a mess all over my shop, so I'm going to get the fuel out of this thing, because we're going to be turning it 10 ways of upside down. I like the pre-mix fuels. I like the concept, but I'll be honest with you, I just don't like the price. I suppose if I used it once in a blue moon, it'd be good. And yeah, as Ken's pointing out, there's no ethanol-free gas where he's at. I'm lucky. There's a gas station quarter-mile up the road with a pump. It's one of the few things, Oregon's weird. We do contradictory things, or you can find those all over the state, and nobody blinks an eye if you roll, say, a 65 Chevy pickup up and fill a full tank for use on the highway, which I tend to do. I don't drive the truck that bit. I haven't overheated a saw with it. The only failure I've had was actually that XL-500 that I built for use just cutting firewood, and that one already had scoring on the piston, and I knew that going into using it. I knew that was a risk, and sure as anything, it decided to burr up on me. But that is the only time that I've had a problem, and that would have happened, as far as I'm concerned, would have happened with any of the mix. So One Stop saying he hasn't had good luck with stable. Maybe it's just my, I don't know, a perception. I've used it. I use it in everything. I know Amsoil claims to have a stabilizer in their mix already. I'll go ahead and I still use stable, but I also mix it into my rototiller and all, or stable. I'm not sure, but I can let those go for a year and not have a problem with it. So I don't know. It's tough to say. I've seen some of those tests where a guy will put up, 30 engine, well, it's an exaggeration, but 10 engines and run a different, stabilizer system through each one, then fire them up. And the one I'm thinking of, stable, did not do all that terribly well. But yeah, I don't know. Just one of those things. Yeah, a lot of folks will stay with 40 to 1. Asks me, hey, man, this oil line is a pain in my neck. If for no other reason, because it's so easy to find that steel oil. That's what I test customer saws on. I'm tuning them to 50 to 1, but yeah, it's easy to find, and that Steel Ultra is a good oil. Probably the only steel endorsement you guys will ever hear me make. Just because I'm old school. These oil line retainers, oh, yeah, slow this process down quite a bit. That's what I'm taking off, trying to get these out of the way so we can start removing this carburetor box. That you can possibly hear. My personal XL, I would run whatever I was running and everything else, which for me would be the 80 to 1. Now, Homelite back in the day, depending on the age of your XL12, either recommended 16 to 1 or 16 to 1 with competitor oil and 32 to 1 with their own. They threw that little curveball in there. The reality is probably just about any modern oil at 32 to 1 is going to be safe in it. you start switching to the synthetics that have a better reputation. Again, the steel, the Echo, a lot of guys are good with that. AMSOIL, you can start going to those higher ratios, but 32 to 1, and you will be, yeah, you'll be okay. Okay. This one oil line is fighting me to the point where I almost think it's, yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. I'm not going to be surprised if we have a problem with that one going back on. But I'll try not to be a Debbie Downer first thing. All right, oil lines are loose. We're going to go ahead and take that one all the way off because I don't want to fight the cylinder around it. No real history on this saw. I think Ben picked it up from eBay. I'm not 100%, but it definitely hadn't been run for a while. Okay, we are ready to start to use a flat blade screwdriver, and that's usually what I do. So we're going to give it a shot, breaking this one loose. We're going to come through the choke hole, and we'll just see how it responds. I'm not going to strip this out. Okay, bad news, not coming loose. So we will try it. It's really tight fitting a ratchet in here. I'm going to try the deep socket first, and it's going to work on this one. A Super EZ or even a Super XL, this isn't going to cut it. Okay, at least it's coming loose. It's coming out hard though. I have a feeling this has a good dose of Loctite on it. Hopefully that's not the case. Well, that was a weird, I got a beep. Oh, look at that. Dell Customer Connect wants me to tell them about their experience. I won't tell them where to go, but yeah. Here we go. That should be the hardest screw, that lower corner. And what do you know? Covered in Loctite there. Which again is not a bad thing. You know, it means that nobody had to worry about it rattling loose. And you don't want to forget your hidden one. Way at the bottom down here. Man, this saw may not have ever been apart. That all looks like factory Loctite. Okay, oil lines are loose. Just so I don't forget, I'm going to pull this kill switch wire. Let's try and pop that. Okay, I'm looking at the gasket here, trying not to tear that all to shreds. Just run a razor blade through. See if we can salvage it. Anybody who's been paying attention on eBay lately knows how expensive gaskets have gotten. There we go. That's almost loose. And some of the reproduction ones are great. Some of them aren't worth a diddly squat. Some of them don't match the original material in terms of being able to withstand fuel and oil. They're just a regular paper gasket that's been cut. And even if they fit right, they still don't do what you need them to do. My XP1130, I have one of the aftermarket gear cover gaskets on, and I didn't put a stinking any gasket sealer on it like an idiot, so I get to clean up a drip under it every once in a while. All right, throttle handle's off. Gasket's going to be salvageable. Again, this is not a critical point. You just don't want sawdust coming through there. So this will be good. Our next battle is going to be this. My tendency to not want to take something off hampers it. You end up spending way more time. So we're just going to see if we can get this whole thing out of the way. Give us some good, clean room to work. What the hell? I'm sure I'll see it in a minute, but where the hell? There it is. There's a lost nut joke in there somewhere, but I'll refrain. Hey, Bob, how the heck you doing, man? Having fun? You bet. I'm in the garage on a Thursday. That's always a good day. Until I did that. Okay, so again, guys ask about this tool all the time. Where can I get one? Well, you can make one, or you don't get one. This is something that came in an old, one of the lots of parts I bought. Just by magic, I happened to get it. So this puller is designed to thread over the starter pawl studs. Good thing Homelite kept that clearance between them. The distance between the center to center is consistent across almost all of their saws that are above, well, hell, above about 38 cc's. So that's nice. But again, it's something that's been out of production for 40 years, well, 30 safely. So you're not going to find one very often on eBay. Just a piece of flat stock. I mean, you can measure out the distance and make your own bolts. This one I made because one of the original aluminum pieces stripped out. So. And out she goes. What the hell was... Huh, old piece of hose rattled out of there. I don't know where that was at. Now, one thing Homelite didn't do on this particular series of saws, they did not make it easy to get that ignition plate off. There's one pry tab here, and I'm not sure that's what they intended it to be, but there's nothing drilled and tapped that you can put any kind of a puller into, so we'll see how this goes. These definitely get Loctite as they're going back. All right. If I recall correctly, they did retain some sort of an alignment pin in here, so resist the urge to grab it and try and rotate it. You can actually see the coil flexing, especially with this bolt loose right here. So we're going to do some things here that are probably not the best, but I don't honestly know any other way. So I'm going to put the nut back on so that I'm not banging right against the threads here. And I see that video might be getting a little choppy. Sorry about that. All right, I don't know that I've made any progress here. I have. I can see the grease starting to break loose. Or sawdust. So that little tab under there, I'm going to see if I can just help things along a little bit. The screwdriver may be too thick. No, it's not. All right, I'm just twisting a little bit. I'm going to do the same over here, but this bracket, I can't emphasize enough how fragile it is. You do not want to get medieval on it. And she's coming. I'm going to switch to the dead blow. We'll see if we get a little more action here. Say we got it. Kind of crude, but again, where would you put a puller on that? There's no room around the edges. Make sure you don't lose your O-ring. In this case, it's still good. Obviously, some cleanup's going to need to be done here. The inside of the engine looks clean. Just varnish and maybe some carbon that caused those rings to stick. So with that out of there, we're free to start pulling this cylinder off. So this is going along at a nice little clip. Probably makes for terrible video. Not all that exciting, but hey. If this goes well enough, I'll try to start scheduling these ahead of time, or at least a predictable time when I'm going to go live on something. But again, it's not as much about having a live audience as it is, honestly, not editing an hour or an hour and a half long video, running it through a processor and all of that. So these kinds won't get comments where if I say something stupid, well, okay, let me rephrase that. When I say something stupid, I won't be able to throw a balloon in there to say, well, here's what I really meant. So, you know, that's okay. That's part of being human, I guess. Okay. Now this side you could actually get with a socket. But already got the wrench out here, and these threads aren't all caked up with crap. Sometimes they are, especially one that's gotten hot. These cylinder nuts can be an absolute bear. Fight you to the last turn. Usually that means that you got a combo of fuel, oil, and sawdust that have leaked on there, and it's gotten hot enough to cook it in. Not always, but usually. All right. So here we are. That oil line, I'm just going to rotate out of the way. We'll give this a little taparoo to break it loose. Or maybe a little more of a taparoo. Damn. Well, that cylinder gasket's really stuck. Huh. Well, that's cute. Okay. There she goes. Oh, man. Okay. Okay. Well, shoot. That's not what I was hoping for. Man, look at those deep, deep gouges in that piston. No wonder this wouldn't release. I'm surprised it would even run. Oh, boy. So that was at the bottom. Something's gotten in here. Ooh, wow. That's over 30 seconds of an inch deep. Wow. Okay, well, that took an unexpected turn. That's not good. That's not good at all. I don't know if I think I'm getting it right there. Yeah, you guys can see that. That's deep. I can do more than catch my nail in it. I could rip my nail off if I wanted to, and there's another one right over here. So something got in here, and I don't know what, but look at what it did to the piston right there. Pretty rough. That I had not anticipated. And actually, it's on the top side, too. What in the hell? It's right in the middle of the transfer ports, both top and bottom. Not off to the side. At first, I thought, well, hell, did the test run do that with the rings partially collapsed, where it was the piston hammering against the transfer port, but it's not where the damage is. It's in the middle, in between the two walls there. So, huh. Okay, well, that was unexpected. I was not intending to put anything but piston rings on this. So, I think we're going to come to an unceremonious end on this saw. I don't see any way around it. Wow. I don't know if I've got anything rat-holed away, but even if I did, I'll have to find it and give Ben a shout and make sure that he wants to throw the kind of money at it that, unless I can find a used one somewhere. That is unfortunate. Yeah, both top and bottom just destroyed. So that certainly does explain why the why the brake oil didn't break the the rings loose. But what's amazing is this thing would run for 5 to 10 minutes like this. Wouldn't idle for crap, but it would run just above an idle, which I guess again is a testament to Homelite and their engineering. Good saws, but wow. Can't overcome that. So anyway, I'm only gonna get about half the video I had intended for us to do. I was going to do the ring replacement and put it back together, but I'm noticing YouTube Live. 32 minutes. Okay. So 32 minutes to get us down to this point. In theory, there'd been another 10 to, clean up everything, scrape a little bit of gasket off of the crankcase and the cylinder, and then just start going back together. So really, this could have been a little over an hour job. Now it's going to, well, we'll see what it's going to be. But that was part of what I wanted to do, was give you guys a live look at, if you're doing this, you got to take a cylinder off of one of these, how much time you're going to have dumped into it. If you were going all the way down with the crankshaft, piston rod, everything else out, obviously would have pulled the clutch off before getting the flywheel loose using a proper tool, which you guys have seen me use enough times, but something like that. And then we would have had to pull the piston off, get the 2 cap screws off, collect all the needles, pull the 2 screws. You can see one of them right there, I think that'll be bright enough. Pull one of those 2 screws out, and then again pull the crankshaft out. That would get you all the way down if you were going that far. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and quit babbling and just end this. And yeah, if we come back to do anything down the road, I'll try to record the putback process. So thanks for joining this morning, guys. I'm gonna review this, and I hope that it turned out better than the last couple. So take it easy.